So very excited about today's potty. I found you guys on like a YouTube short, which is, and as soon as I saw it, I literally clicked your email and I'm like, these guys have to come on the show for so many different reasons. But one, I was like, you're absolutely balling out. You've done a whole bunch of stuff really, really young in your life. And like us, you like stuff to look cool as well. And like I was like, these guys are going to look great on camera. For anybody listening to this, you should go check out the YouTube version. But I also just sort of thought like, it's very, very rare to meet people in like early, late 30s, you guys. Yeah. So,
mid to late. Yeah. I just turned 40.
Yeah, like, same vibe. It's like a touchy place. Yeah, that's what happens sometimes. Yeah. This coastal lifestyle. But I sort of thought like you've done so much from the time that you started to now, and I know that there'd be an incredible story there. So I'm just fully fanboying out today and going, I'm going to ask you guys heaps of questions that I'd want to know about your journey. And if it's cool, it'd be great to just be super honest with each other and go, here's some of the positives, here's some of the negatives, here's like the cool stuff that's happened. But from every cool thing, we've both been in this for long enough to know that there's like a problem that you've had to solve as well. So my first question is like, where did this all begin for you guys? Like, I suppose in terms of you guys coming together, but then even before that, like when did you both decide that you wanted to be financially free and living a life filled with choices young?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I guess for myself, I was working away in the mines. I moved up from Melbourne and I'd been to uni on the Sunshine Coast. And I was working away in the mines and started following a few people, you know, on Facebook and everything, and really sort of started to find, I guess, property as a vehicle. Yeah. I didn't know, you know, you get in there, you don't know anything about it, but really started to watch a few things and go, okay, that's cool. This could be, you know, a way to actually, you know, reach that financial freedom. And so I was obviously on a good wage working away, so I started investing. And then I think I'd purchased 4 properties, and then at that time, that was when I met you. Yeah. Yeah, we met at the house I was living in at the time. Actually, I was living downstairs and I was renting upstairs out, and it just so happened that Bianca was friends with the guys upstairs. They were having a 25th at the time. They said, "Hey, do you want to come up?" Just
like, man, this wasn't supposed to go this way.
It was really awkward when I ended up moving in. Hey guys.
Surprise, I'm downstairs. No, I love that.
Yeah. So we ended up hitting it off. That was cool. Bianca moved in, and then it wasn't too long after that we purchased a little renovator together, and was like, oh, let's just try a hand at this. Yeah. And when we met, I was looking for my first investment at that point, and I'd been looking for like a year and a half, and like obviously not knowing anything about property at the time, I was looking at stuff. I'm like, didn't make sense. I still wanted to travel. I'm like, this thing needs to pay for itself. I don't want to pay for it. It was literally at a crossroads, and started looking into property education. Met Joel, he was interested in property, and we sort of really, like, just after we met, dove into that world of property education, and picked up my first little renovator.
Where was that first little one?
Nambour.
Okay, Nambour.
265k, yeah, 265 grand.
I don't think you get much change for what, even as a shit box out there now, 750, 800.
Yeah, that's it. Hey? That's right. Yeah, so not much.
Like me, you've probably long gone, sold that property, made like 100 or 200k, and gone, yes, at that time.
It wasn't even that much. I think it was like 60 grand. I think it was 60
grand. And at the time, you're like,
yes, we're balling.
Yeah, expectations are really high. We're like, let's not lose money.
So what did you, there's a heap here, but what did you do to that first place? Like, did you guys move in unrenovated, or did you clean it up for tenants, or did you make it something special for yourselves that you knew other people would like as well?
No. So the intention was just to renovate and sell, but we might talk about this a little bit later, but we utilised some of the first homeowners grants for Bianca. She'd never purchased before, so she was exempt from stamp duty for that, and then we used the PPR exemption as well for the sale. So that was sort of where our head was at. So the intention was always to keep it, but we ended up selling it.
When you get that, like the first time I sold a property, I had no idea about any of those things. And I went, so I get to like, because it's my home, keep all this money. I was like, oh, that's a nice thing. Yeah. It's like the only time in my life that they haven't taken like 45 cents away from me. Yeah. I was like, I like this. Yeah. So going back then, I think from writing some of my notes before this, you bought your first property in 2012.
Yeah.
So that was, you know, you and I probably wouldn't have known if you're anything like me. I was surfing, skating, training, uniing, and then apparently there was a GFC. Did you feel that at that time? Like, did you have awareness that the world had just come off like a once in a sort of 20-year cycle, or were you just, it's time to buy and I'm going for it?
Yeah, like I was just working away. I was doing 4 weeks on, 1 week off in WA, earning a bucket of cash, and I just literally, I think I'd heard someone talk about, it's in Gunnedah in New South Wales. I think I heard someone talk about Gunnedah in the office. I'm like, I'm going to check that out.
Hotspot.
Yeah, hotspot. Real hotspot.
I got a few of those tips back in the day as well.
And did the numbers. I'm like, this thing's going to, like found something. I'm like, this thing's going to pay for itself. I'm not even going to have to chip in. So ended up purchasing it, 5% deposit. And and the rest is history. But prior to that, I wasn't working in the mines. I literally sort of just finished my uni degree, and I was struggling to find work here on the coast through that GFC period. Yeah. I ended up working up on the Gateway down in Brizzy and doing the commute. It was horrible.
That's a good way to figure out a way to financial freedom when you're spending 3 hours a day in the car. Like I did the same on the commute in Sydney, and I'm like, I think I'm here because of that. I called it the death train. It was the commute. It was like I was in a black suit, or my wife calls it that, and everyone else was in, and you're pretending that you're not with other people. Yeah. And it's like, I'm in my own little bubble here. I think I read 50 books that year, and 12 of them were the property books.
Yeah.
And I was reading one a week because I was spending 4 hours a day on this thing, and I'm like, yeah, there's another way.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. Okay. So, but yeah, it was midway through that reno, one of my mates actually introduced us to some property courses. One of them was I Love Real Estate. And when I sort of had a look at it, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And they were doing a 1-day free live event on the Sunshine Coast. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, oh, let's go along and see what it's all about. And just reading some stuff about the course before we went, they were handing out some free iPads, and they were also handing out the course to someone for free. So the night before, I said to Bianca, we're going to win that course. And she said, write it down. So I wrote down, I can't remember what date it was, the 5th of May or something, 2000, I think it was 17. We just attended.
It was 16.
Was it 16? Yeah, right. We just attended the I Love Real Estate course, and I'm so thankful that we've won the course. It's cheesy as. And then the next day, at the end of the day, she pulls a name out of the hat.
And she's like, it's a guy.
Yeah.
Starts with J. Like, God, it's you.
Got this. When you went up and did it, did you you wouldn't have told them at the time, you would have just thanked them and taken it? Or did you actually tell everyone what you'd done? Because that would have been incredible.
I don't even know if you had to go up and get it on stage.
No, I did. I definitely did. Yeah, 100%. But I can't quite remember if I told this whole story.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but yeah, honestly, that course just opened our eyes up to so much different stuff that you can do in property, and it's really paved the way for our future, which has been awesome. At
that time, you'd done sort of the 4-5 properties together, and you're following a more traditional route, the same as I was.
Yep.
And then you've been in this room and gone, oh, whoops, there's a lot more going on here.
Things like...
You're hearing all these things, it's like, oh, we've made that mistake. Oh, we've done that. Oh, we could have done that better. Yeah. Oh, we could do this.
And
it just blew our mind.
Yeah, definitely.
It really, I think that's when it lit the fire of we knew it could do it before, but I think that was oh no, we can actually take this and run with it and really make something of it.
So how did you start to go from this, the portfolio? I was buying and selling them on the way. So by the time I'd done 6, I think I only held 3 and on the traditional route.
Yeah.
How did you start to plan for a different future? Because that's a pretty pivotal moment when it's everything that I've learned is been valuable, but it's gone now, but I don't exactly know what the next step is. Like, how did you formalize that and then get on the road that you're on now?
Yeah, sure. So we're obviously doing the course, and the development side of things was what really sort of, I guess, sparked I was really intrigued by it. I was like, we could do this. And I was like, okay, we need some more money. So we ended up, that renovation that we were doing, like, cool, let's finish this, let's sell it tax-free, cool. Also sold one of the units that I'd previously purchased down the Gold Coast, sold that. So we had some capital. Then, mate, we're living on the Sunshine Coast, so I'm like, all right, let's do something on the Sunshine Coast. We're here, it's going to be easy. So I just really delved into the planning scheme and just got my head around it, and like what you could do, what you couldn't do, and just, you know, ringing people, ringing town planners, ringing engineers, just, you know, this and that, you know. Yeah, I was that squeaky wheel,
I
you
love
know.
that, man.
And then
they're happy to help too, right? Like, people think they're not, but everyone just wants to help someone that's young that's getting into it.
Yeah, so we ended up...
I think our town planner's given you an apprenticeship.
Oh, she has, mate, 100%. And even today, like...
Get my degree.
Yeah, mate, 100%. And the thing is, like, you know, what we're doing now, I use it all day, every day, and it's just helped us so much. Whereas, you know, my degree, has helped somewhat, but it's not like we're using it every day. And the stuff that we've learned from the property courses, from the town planner and stuff, has just been far superior to what we were sort of learning at school.
So you've sold those few properties and you've raised some capital. What was the first one that you tried to have a crack at? And how did that work out for you guys?
You're going to like this. We bought a block of land, medium density in Nambour for 190 grand.
Love it. And this is when Nambour, when everyone's like, Nambour.
Yeah, it's our favourite place.
Yeah, that's so good.
Who needs a Noosa or Alex Headlands when you got Nambour?
Yeah, that's it. So 190 grand, and then we built a duplex on there for 440.
So you took it out and built 2 newies, or you were able to keep the front one?
So someone had just done a boundary realignment.
Okay.
They'd kept the front house and then created a rear lot at the back.
That you could do 2 on.
Yeah, medium density. So we did 2 on there. Duplex, build costs were at the time was 440 grand.
Yeah.
Double story too.
In the whole thing for like just under 700.
Remember when you were like arguing with the builder for 1,600 a metre squared for double story with high spec finishes, and you're paying like 1,200 for a single story, and you're like, I'm not paying 1,250, and now it's like, I'll pay 2 grand, please.
Build it for me. Yeah. So that was the first one, and then we went through that. We ended up strata titling it, and we refinanced all our initial cash out, which was awesome. Yeah. So we
full deposit back within 12 months, basically.
Yeah. So it was really good.
Well, that worked.
Yeah.
Let's do that again. Yeah.
Like, it isn't as, and that's what the I Love Real Estate course gave me as well, like belief that things could be done, because it was example after example of people doing it. Yeah, like they're no smarter than me and I'm no smarter than them. Like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. Just that concept, I think, of implementing a strategy, whatever it is, whether it's renovation, building, you know, whatever it is, strata titling, adding value, and then refinancing, and, you know, then recycling that initial capital was just something that I never really grasped. I didn't know sort of it was available to sort of do that. It was always the buy and hold, wait for growth, and then refinance, and you know.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so, do you still own those, or as part of the journey you've sort of let them go?
Yeah, we still got them.
They're just still winning.
They're just ticking along.
Man, so I'm doing the numbers in the back of my head, which I'm not going to do here now, but I know that you can't not rent out a double story joint out there for what, $600 to $800 a week now as well. You're still probably getting some tax benefits on them, and you've probably seen them triple at least.
No, it's been a really good.
It's done really well.
And that's the one that just keeps on giving.
That's it. And I think it all comes back to, like you said before, like, you know, what did we do at that pivotal moment? And you said, you know, we realised we needed some cash, but we realised we also needed to structure things correctly as well, because we were eventually going to hit the ceiling if we kept purchasing in our own name and doing that. So that was like a really key part to making sure we got it right. And there was even learnings in that.
Oh, there was a little apprenticeship there with just how that was structured, and then we stuffed it up a little bit. We had to do it for servicing, but there was a bit of we had to go back and restructure something which cost us a bit of money.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
we learned that.
But we learned that, and then that allowed us to move forward and continue investing.
So Dimpna is obviously an accountant, and she's big on the trust structures. I think she scared me so badly in that first 1-day course that it changed my life forever.
Tell everything.
But so what, for you guys, obviously the advice you've got from your accountants or financial advisors or friends who are in that licensed space, like how have you been able to continue to move forward without hitting personal servicing limits or, not even that, just the asset protection side of things? What have you done personally?
Yeah, definitely.
Without going into the details, but what structure do you buy and sell in or buy and keep in?
Yeah, so generally it's a discretionary trust with a corporate trustee.
Yep.
A couple of advantages of that are you've obviously got your, you can minimise your tax in terms of land tax. So you've got your threshold, well in Queensland it's 350K. So if you can purchase in different properties in different structures, that threshold starts again. Yep. So there's advantages there. There's asset protection in that it's huge. The separation from you from the asset. Yep. So that's a really big one. And another one is lending. So some lenders out there, not all, but some lenders, if a structure is trading profitably, and you can get an accountant's letter to say that it's trading profitably, none of that debt or income comes into consideration when servicing. So if, as an example, if you had 5 properties, they were all owned in structures and they were all trading profitably, when you go to purchase the next one, you're back to square one and they're only assessing you on that you owe nothing basically. So your servicing stays the same the whole way along. Whereas when you buy stuff in your personal name, that debt starts to accumulate in your personal name on each property, and unfortunately your borrowing capacity shrinks. Essentially, as that debt increases, your borrowing capacity decreases. So that's been our experience. I'm so grateful
to have you guys on here because I obviously am a licensed real estate agent and you guys are guests talking about your own experiences, and I just fucking love it, to be honest with you. I'm just like, it's the exact same way that I do everything as well. And you get to a point where the bank says no, and then if you're anything like us, you go, well, why did you say no and how could I do it differently? And then when you get to your 7th accountant and you actually can tell them exactly what you want to do, you start getting the right ideas as well.
And we definitely still have clients, we say, mate, we can't give them advice. We can just, hey, look, this is what's worked for us. These are the questions you need to speak to your accountant and, go and give them some questions to ask. And even now, sometimes, the advice that they're given, the accountant is trying to minimise, their costs. Hey, why would you want another structure? It's going to cost you to set up another structure, and then you're not
going to get the negative gearing in your own person. It's like, well, I'm not going to be financially free till I'm 300 either.
Yeah, because I'm only going to be able to buy 2 properties or 3 properties or whatever it is. So they're not thinking that far ahead like we probably are. So
and I don't know about you guys, but I didn't have the knowledge, the language to be able to go into my first accountant and go, I want to be financially free this way. How would you do it from there? I was like, I'm earning this and I want to buy that. Cool. And then 9 properties later or something, you're like, oh, that's not cool. Actually, I'm going to be so wealthy and I'm going to be doing this forever.
That's it. And I think like having the team of the right professionals, so the right accountant, the right solicitor that can look at your structure or your setup and go, for you, this is what you need to do. But taking all those benefits and kind of going, hey, here's where I want to get to, and these are some of the reasons that I've been told can work, from here, can you guide me? Because I think that's key. Like
big time.
If you don't have, like you said, if you don't know what to ask or the right questions, you're just going to get blanket.
And we're
advice.
Exactly the same. And it's only until you probably make the mistake that the penny drops and okay, cool,
I remember my second property. So I was 24 when I finished uni up here. I went took a few years off and had some just did the things you need to do, and then went to uni. So I was like, going into the grad program at 24, and I remember buying my first property in Sydney, and then my second one was like a few weekends after Dimpter down there.
Yeah.
And I bought this house. I still love this thing. It was like 213K. It was rented out upstairs, downstairs, and had a granny flat. I was paying $600 a week. The bank asked, it was post GFC, so that it was 2011. They asked for 2.5% deposit, and I was just like, with all the LVR paid for, stacked on the loan, it was phenomenal. And I'm like, I just need 2 of these, and then I'm not going to work. You know that like young man, young woman mentality of like, I don't need a lot right now to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So everything you've done, like since you came in, like the flip at Nambour and then the duplexes immediately turned to gold. So you must have been pretty excited about real estate pretty good.
This is pretty good. Yeah,
it's going well.
It's right. Yeah.
And I think the other thing that we did as well was looked at, well, Joel already had other properties, like what else in the portfolio can be developed or improved on, or you know, or is it holding us back? But you talked about we sold one of them.
We sold one of them. There was another one we had down the Gold Coast that we held on to. It was a townhouse. We ended up converting that to roomie accommodation.
Nice.
Yeah. So we took that. I think at the time we spent, it was about 25 grand or something on the conversion. It wasn't much. Like fully certified, everything, all the council approved, and then took the rent from, it was like $350 a week or something to $840.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So immediately your position from the banks, even though you're buying in structures, is looking better and better.
Yeah. Yep. So there was that, and then the house that we met in in Alex, that was in medium density too, and that was just by fluke. And I was like, it went to auction, and I got passed in, and I was home from work because I was working away, and I just turned up. The agent's like, "Oh, do you want to bid?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't have anything ready to bid." It got passed in, and then just negotiations after the auction managed to pick it up. So I had no idea what I was buying. This is a cool house close to the beach. That was all that I knew.
In 2018-ish.
That was 2014.
Oh man, it could not have been better times looking back now. And it was already zoned medium density. It was already
medium density,
Cool. And at that time, so originally you had that up and downstairs leased, but now what have you done with that, that project now?
Yeah, so we subdivided into 2.
Yeah.
And then we built a duplex on the lot at the rear.
Okay.
And then we've got a vacant lot still sitting at the front, and we're just getting some designs drawn up at the moment.
So it's
for our house.
1 to 4 effectively.
1 to 3.
1 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So duplex at the back, single house at the front.
And have you, I suppose coming back, because I want to bridge from Nambour to there. So what happened post Nambour duplex working out? What was the next thing, and how did you know what to hold and keep and what to sort of strategically sell to help moving forward as well?
Yeah, sure. So
Alex was kind of happening in the background, that planning, that took a long time to get it right, get it through, and I think learning along the way on that one.
Yeah, it's definitely a tight site. It was 610 square meters.
Okay.
We're trying to fit a 3-story duplex on 310 square meters, and then we've obviously got the front lot, and we had some stormwater constraints that it sloped away from the road, so that was challenging. But all that sort of stuff was happening in the background. Yeah.
And then we went into Caloundra next.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, we did another 1 into 2, and a duplex on each. Then it was a corner lot.
Yeah, we did that with the JV. So we learnt again from I Love Real Estate about joint ventures and money partners, and so did a 1 into 2.
Yep.
And you can talk about it if you like. I've done a lot of talking.
Were you the money partner, or were you the active partner in that one?
We're an active partner in that instance. So
which is the place I think you want to be, especially on the way up.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. And it worked out really good. And it's about finding the right fit for a JV partner. We had a really good relationship with them, and basically picked up this site, had an old house on it. At first we wanted to keep the existing house. It was a corner lot. The house was perfect in there, but it had a lot of termite damage.
I don't think there was hardly any stumps still standing.
There was a stump still standing, and then the floors here. I'm like, what is holding that up? It was just standing.
I remember doing this project years and years ago in a place called Acacia Ridge, which is the ghetto of Brizzy at the time. And I remember redoing the bathroom, and the guy's like, like basically gone to like re-waterproof the bathroom, and the only thing holding the shower in place was the physical frame. Yeah, there was physically no floor below it, and it was just like the tiles in this shower screen holding the shower up. But imagine being in your shower and just falling straight through it. It's like pinned like as high as this room.
Oh my God.
But it's like, you do find that, like, you know, you pay for what you get, don't you? And you want to pay cheap if it's a development site.
Yeah, that's it. I think we picked up for $575.
Was that in Golden or actually Caloundra?
That was in Caloundra. It's literally,
Across the road from the Bowls Club.
yeah, across the road from the Bowlsy. I think it's about 400 metres to Happy Valley.
Okay.
Like,
It's a great little location.
Bullcock Street's just there. Like, you can walk everywhere. So good location. But yeah, did the numbers. Keeping the house didn't look like a good option. So we got rid of that. And yeah, we ended up doing 1 into 2 lot. And then we did a duplex on each. And yeah, we basically split the JV at the subdivision point.
Okay.
So
he got his land, you got yours.
We bought the land off him
Just
at that
50-50.
point. And that worked really, really well in terms of going our separate ways and having a clear exit.
Can I ask something there,
Yeah.
like just as a property geek?
Yeah.
Did you buy it back in the same entity that you originally sold it from? You just like got each other off the bank loans, or how did it work? Or was he doing it in cash and you just paid him out?
He purchased it in his own entity.
Okay.
So there's a lot of trust in that obviously he owned the asset.
Yeah.
And at that split point, when we basically purchased the total
From
cost of
his
the
entity to
development,
your own.
we split it 50-50. We purchased our lot off him, and then we had our own entity ready to go.
Cool, that's what I was wondering. Like,
Yeah.
all right, beautiful.
Yeah, so it was really clean. It worked really, really well. And then yeah, the build was done in about 6 months, maybe even less.
Yeah, like so essentially, it's pretty much 4 townhouses to 2 duplexes, but yeah, it was done 6 months
Yeah.
in and out. It was really quick.
Did you keep one, sell one, keep both?
Keep
We've
both.
kept them both,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So for us, and I think that goes back to what you were talking about at the start in terms of like building wealth and like creating a life. Like, our goal has always been to hold as much as we can.
Okay.
Because obviously, as time goes on, you know,
Time's your friend.
Yeah,
time is your
without a
friend.
doubt.
And so yeah, where we can, we hold what we can.
Yeah.
And then if we need to move something on, we'll move it on. And I think it's a bit of a revolving door in terms of, how do you structure it continuously? It's like reassess after each one, like, because things change.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
So are you at a stage in your personal journey where you feel like you've got the portfolio that you want for the future? And do you do, like, one thing I've always done is partner properties. So I think I've sold 13, 12 odd properties now to rip through the debt that I couldn't have achieved through businesses or jobs as well. So there's properties you buy and hold forever.
Yeah, and then
there's-
others that you move on.
Have you sort of worked on that, or you guys have always been accumulating, and because you pick up so much on the way in, there's no need to do that in your portfolios?
Yeah, we haven't needed to sell, other than those first couple to get going, we haven't needed to sell anything yet.
Okay.
What we're doing in development at the moment, that part of the strategy is to sell portions of it and then retain.
Yep.
And like, again, that's built into it.
Yep.
So, we can actually hold it, not have to worry about selling down. And then, yeah.
So what happened post Caloundra? Like, was it from there back to Alex, or is there a bit of in between there as well?
They were happening simultaneously.
Okay,
Yeah, that was an interesting time. Yeah.
So it was very challenging.
Yeah, it was.
It was very challenging for us. So we were both working for another company, and we fell out of alignment with the company, and we both got made redundant, and that
At the same
time. So both our incomes went to zero right at the same time, and we had the Alex subdivision duplex build was underway. It was probably midway sort of through construction.
Yeah. And there's no, hey, we need a bit of space when it's in construction phase.
Yeah.
Just here's your invoice, here's your next one.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's build it fast.
Caloundra was literally...
We'd been through the subdivision, got approval.
You were just going for
I was
finance.
purchasing the land to do the build, I'm like, well, this is not ideal. This is less than ideal.
All of your paperwork in at that point?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No. So that was very much an interesting time.
Yeah. And to add to that, we had just bought a little renovation project west of the coast.
Okay.
And we were renovating that and also converting it to rooming accommodation as well. So, and that was a bit of a live-in because...
That was fun.
Yeah, Alex...
We had a tree
It was
change.
fun, yeah.
That was the cherry on that.
It was like, during that period right then, it was like we weren't working, we were just living reno, tree change out in the country. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
nice.
lovely.
Because we had, at the time, Alex was our PPR, that's where we'd been living, but we'd knocked the house down to make way for the development. So we'd bought a motorhome, we'd renovated the motorhome, and we were literally just cruising around in the motorhome and working from the motorhome at the time.
Yeah.
So up Agnes Waters and down New South Wales. It was really
so
cool.
That sounds like a real good time.
It was really cool,
Yeah.
mate, yeah. And then, well, we got bored, as you do, so we bought this little renovation project, and so we were like, oh, we'll move into that for a couple of months while we're renovating. And then all this went down, and it was, I really like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Yeah.
And what did you do? Like, because sometimes when your back's against the wall or like you're in the bucket and you got to crawl out of it somehow, like, how did you go? There's two things here, like the mental health side of things from shit, fear to abundance again, and then also the actual true transition to, you know, we're going to be fine financially as well.
Yeah. So, like, we did have options. We had a buffer on the Alex project that in case something happened, and literally that buffer went down to very close to zero by the time we'd finished the build. It was very stressful. But we had, with Caloundra, we did have the option to sell our half of the development. So once the land was titled, we could have sold that block of land if we wanted to. But, you know, we'd gone... We were
Didn't come this
12
far
months.
to come this far.
I'm like, no, we are sorting this out. Let's figure it out. What are we going to do? So
We just need to get these to rental.
Yeah, exactly.
So the thinking caps went on, and we just have to get creative with your finance. So got creative, and we'd had the buffer that was there for Alex had to sort of transition across two projects.
Okay.
Hence why it went down as low as it went down. And so, we just got creative with our finance, got it over the line, and got the build done, and was thankful the build was super quick.
Yeah, the Caloundra one was quick.
Yeah, it was very quick, 6 months.
So that was great.
And you guys went straight from that point into your own business. You just went, okay, this is the time, this is the universe giving us the kick in the bum to just go for what we wanted to do anyway.
100%. Yeah, it really was, because I think, I don't know, where we were sort of treating it and like acting almost like, you know, running it and caring about it like it was our own. And then, you know, to actually be in the position, it's like, well, now you've got the opportunity to go and create something for yourselves and help other people do the same thing. And it was kind of like a sink or swim. Like you run out of excuses, right? If you work for somebody else, or, you know, you have a plan B, you got a plan B.
Yeah,
whereas when
no
it's kind of,
plan B.
it's like, okay, all your excuses have just been taken away. Like, off you go.
I love that.
So it was, and there was definitely still a bit of fear. Like,
100%.
But at the same
Good days,
time,
bad days.
but like that, you don't have a choice. So it's like, cool, let's get going. Let's get this done.
We were literally talking about it on the way here. So that's when Echo Property was essentially born. And we set up this tiny little makeshift office in Bianca's parents' they've got like a little granny flat kind of next to their house. And we went marketplace, got a desk and stuff, and like that was our office while we were
to get started.
And I wish we got more photos of that, because it was so, there's no aircon or anything. We got a pedestal fan, it was just pedestal fan blowing on us. So that was where it all started.
That was where
I love that. So talking about Echo for a sec, basically you guys can support people, or you guys talk about it because it's your dream, your passion, but what can you help people out there looking to do similar things to what you guys have done do?
Yeah, definitely. I guess we're just like we obviously live and breathe property, like we love it. And I guess through Echo, we want to help other people that whether they're just starting out in investing or maybe they're an established investor and they're wanting to build their portfolio. But, you know, it's a full-time thing once you get into it. And like it takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, we really, I guess we got really clear on how we wanted to help people. And our experience and our specialty has been in duplexes, small subdivisions, rooming accommodation, co-living. So we really just packaged all of that up to say, hey, you know, if there's people out there, you know, wanting to source specific sites, we can help them execute full turnkey from sourcing, research, due diligence to actual fulfillment where we're
completion of construction, handover.
And, you know, some of our clients, they live interstate, they've never stepped foot on site, and we've taken it from here to here.
Beautiful.
And and then outside of that, we also help clients that investors that already own a site. You know, I think a lot of people think development's really sexy, and it's like, I'm going to do a development,
and
I've got this site
with planners and certifiers, and you come into trouble, and you're like,
there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of fine print, and
so you can sort of do fee for service consulting to be like, I've got this great site in Brizzy, Goldie, Sunny Coast somewhere.
Yep, exactly.
We're going to introduce you to our team and we're just going to take the pain away.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep. We'll get it done for you and just, develop, manage the whole thing. Then, get people an outcome because, it can spin wheels for a long time.
Sure.
It really can when council's involved, and it's for that communication line, those communication lines with council and the professionals drop for any reason, the project just stops. Yeah. And so really maintaining that momentum and knowing who to speak to, what needs to happen to keep things moving is just critical.
What are some cool things you've done for like a duplex client recently and a boarding house client? Like what could people expect roughly? And I know it's like how long's a piece of string because some sites are millions of bucks, some sites are 600, 800K.
Yeah.
But what's something cool? Like what's something fun that's relatively simple for someone to execute watching this that's like, I want to put my teeth into something a little bit bigger and have a bit more fun with it?
Yeah, I'd say one of the rooming house builds, it's they're relatively quick in terms of development. They don't require a full council application. We can do it under a private certification. So
it's always beautiful.
Always good. So take that pain away. Yeah. And so, we can have an outcome in Southeast Queensland from sourcing and acquiring a site through to getting the BA and construction within about 12 months from start to finish.
Okay.
8 to 850 total spend is sort of where we're sitting at the moment.
For entry level,
entry level, and
that's land and build.
Land and build,
furniture package, like full turnkey.
Yeah, all our fees and everything, and then renting for about $16.50 a week. So for anyone at home that's not sure what rooming accommodation is, it's basically a house with multiple discrete households, and what that means is from the street, it'll look like a standard everyday house. Yep. Sometimes we do double garage, sometimes we do carport, but generally sometimes there's no covered car parking, just depends on the client's budget. But looks like a standard house, but inside the house, there's essentially 5 studio apartments and they can each legally be rented out separately. So we've got separate leases on each studio.
All fireproofed, all certified.
Yep. So we've got extra fire and safety requirements within the house. It's a Class 1B building, so a standard house is a Class 1A that most people live in, and this is a Class 1B, and it just requires some additional fire and safety measures and also some disability access requirements.
And I'm assuming there's a pretty good chunk of change at tax time on a 600K build or 550K build.
Yeah.
Most people looking at 300, 500 a week for the first 5 years or so.
So you've got 5 wet areas in terms of bathrooms. You've got 6 kitchens, and so these within the house. So the depreciation on one of these is really high. Yeah.
Very cool.
Really cool.
And they're working for people pretty well. Like you can introduce people to the obviously it's a different property management service, but it's like something that you guys hook people into as well. So it's full
turnkey.
Yeah, we'll hand over to the property managers. They'll take care of filling it, long-term management.
That's awesome. Nice. And what about duplexes at the moment? Like obviously the prices in the Goldie and the Sunny Coast have gone through the roof in the last 6 or so years, but where are you helping people in that space at the moment? Still doing Goldie or Sunny Coast, or are you doing more Brizzy stuff at the moment for the duplex strategies?
Yeah, primarily Sunny Coast. Yeah, they're quite favourable with the duplexes. Probably going to become even more favourable once this new planning scheme drops, whenever that's going to happen.
Hearing through the grapevine that from your
town planner. Yeah. We're doing one in Maroochydore at the moment. Okay. It's a site. The client actually, she owned 2 sites side by side. She'd gone through the DA on the corner lot herself, and she just was fairly green to it, and she said it was just an absolute nightmare. Took a long time. Her designer charged her 25 grand for sort of concept plans, DA plans, and then quoted her another 25 grand for working drawings. And
I just can't remember a building design. I mean, that building designer must have just been like, whoa. Yeah, because you know how much work goes into that. It's like, I could put something together in a couple of days.
Yeah. So he was an architect. She sent me the plans. He was an architect, and so I guess charging architect rates. Yeah. So she just said, so she hasn't got to construction stage and that, so she's got the approval and she's just sitting on it at the moment. And so she's got the site next door, and then she found us and she said, hey, can you guys help me facilitate this? So we had a look at it. Yep. And rather than doing the approval she got next door was 4 townhouses.
Okay.
I said, if I was you, I would be subdividing this into 2. And then doing a duplex on each block.
So just breaking it down into a piece versus that's an overwhelmingly large project.
Yeah. So she can stage it, she can keep it within residential lending. She doesn't have to go the commercial route, and so just a lot easier and lower risk, I guess, for her. She's got the option to do the subdivision, build 1 duplex, sell the front lot off as vacant land if she wants. She can strata title the duplex, sell them off. Well, she's just got options.
Love that.
Yeah. So we've got all the approvals. We've got signed a build contract, and we should be turning dirt before the end of the year.
That's super exciting. They're big solutions because people get stuck on them. I remember doing my first subdivision myself. Yeah. It was a couple of days before Chrissy down in, where was it, Clontarf. This site had been on all year. I rang the agent the night before Chrissy. I'm like, dude, 200k less than the listing price. I know this needs to be sold. It's been online forever. He's like, okay, done. Nice. And I had a planner at the time that's not the one that I've got now. She is a weapon. You're only as good as your worst advisor, right?
100%.
And this thing took me so long. It took me about 18 months to go through, and it was just such a simple thing that would take a month now.
Yeah.
But you live and you learn, and I kind of got turned off that for a little while. I'm like, actually, it was just the experience, and I think that's where most people get hung up, and why paying for people like yourselves can just take so much pain away, and then you learn more as well because you get the team. And you get the if you're asking 100%. The right questions, the knowledge as well. Yeah.
I think early on, a friend of ours who's done multiple developments, been in it for years. We sat down and were having a drink with him, just talking and just talking about hurdles that we'd been facing, and he just said, if you want to be in this industry, you better get used to it because it's going to continue to happen. So I was like, okay, cool, and from really took that on board, and we get curveballs thrown at us all the time, as you would know, and it's just cool. Roll with it. What are we learning from this one? Okay, cool. We know for the next one, and they all come with their challenges and their learnings.
Yeah. But obviously their upside as well, which is why you take the pain.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I think, people work out what they want to be. Do they want to be an investor or do they want to be a developer? Because they're two really different things. Very different things. And I think, there's your hardcore people that are really passionate about development, and once you're in the trenches, it's like, oh yeah, okay, this is it. This is it. We are just going to be doing this and, learning on each project, and obviously it's just an evolving landscape. And then other people that it's they get in and they're like, actually, you know what? I want to do the development, but I don't want to do the development. Yeah. So I think that's been a really cool thing that, we can help people do now.
Helping bridge the gap between investor to developer without the pain of being a developer.
Exactly, yeah.
So what would you say, looking back at everything that you've been through now, what would you have done differently if you were getting started from scratch, but with the knowledge, skills and experience that you've got from 15 years of doing it?
Yep.
What would you be saying to your 25-year-old selves?
Two things for me. You can't just do one. I'll do two. Two things for me is structures. So really getting your head around structures, and because they can make or break your ability to be able to move forward. So really learning and diving deep into that and figuring out what's the best structure for what I'm intending to do is really important.
And that's an accountant solicitor combo for most people.
Yep. And even mortgage broker as well. Probably the three. So that would be one. Two would be using good debt to your advantage, and actually getting your head around how you can actually use debt to your advantage to be able to continue moving forward. And that might be from time in the market, that might be from doing something active to add equity to a project, but utilising that debt and refinancing and moving forward. But pairing that debt with cash flow, they're two important things, not just getting into a bunch of debt that you have to be paying for each month. That's not great. But debt that you can really utilise, that's not affecting your lifestyle, that's going to allow you to move forward and ride that market.
The properties that you own at the moment, except for Alex, I'm assuming, just from doing the numbers in the back of my head while we're talking, all cash flow well, all have grown well, they're all in good locations with long-term potential if you hold them. They've got great tax benefits, so you're ticking off a lot of boxes.
Multiple. Just trying to make sure it's balanced, and everyone's in different scenarios, so depending on where you're starting, I think that's key. Some people have great servicing and not a lot of equity, so it's cool, you need to go and build some equity. And other people, you got a bunch of equity, but your servicing's running out, you need some cash flow and all the other tax benefits. So it's really, no one's the same, everyone's financial position's different, so
and just navigating that together with that team around them as well.
Definitely.
But really, rooming accommodation has been really beneficial for us in increasing that cash flow. And some of our properties are rooming, some aren't, but it's just having that balance. But it's definitely been helpful.
So you've been able to get rooming accom in Brisbane, Goldie, and Sunny Coast just by understanding the different policy in each market.
So we definitely have, but things are constantly changing. And Gold Coast, we were doing a lot on the Gold Coast with the previous company, and they've changed policy, and it's really difficult to do down there. We haven't done anything down there for ages. Sunshine Coast, we're charging extremely high infrastructure charges per room to do rooming accommodation here. They've now significantly reduced that, so you can do it on the coast here now, which has made it
a bit more achievable. The numbers actually stack up now.
So, which is good. And it's been around in Brisbane since 2014, and they've really been the pioneers in Queensland for rooming accom. And I would say it's the state government that's really forced the other councils into kicking them up the butt to
create some affordable
accommodation. Because a lot of them, it was always a code assessment, and so once you go through a code assessment, you're adding time, money, and then they're going to add infrastructure charges onto the back end as well. Now state-based policy has been introduced about 2 years ago now.
Coming up 2 years.
Which has allowed us to do it statewide, but some councils are still charging those exorbitant infrastructure charges. So navigating the different councils is something to be mindful of.
That's cool. And so if you were to sit down together and just be speaking openly off camera, where do you see yourselves now in 5 to 15 years? What's the North Star and what are you working towards?
Yeah, definitely. I think, the business, it's growing, and I guess we want to see us be able to help as many people as we can, grow our team a little bit. But, we got into property for freedom, and, the reason why we're helping people continue to invest is for their freedom. So I think moving forward, we'll get into a bit more. We want to help first home owners get into the market, whether they're first homeowner or first time investor, but really giving them some options to get into the market. And then you really want to dive into more of the development stuff.
I just live and breathe development. I really enjoy it, so just the problem solving and the creation of finding a site, figuring out what you can do with it, and then creating something to go on there, and then actually bringing that to life. I just love doing it. It's like,
love that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was driving down Oceanic Drive this morning, but I'm constantly going through Alex and Mooloolaba and just seeing all the beautiful stuff, even that Craig and stuff at Town's doing now. Like duplexes have all, how it got stuck in a way for about 10 years and it all looked vanilla.
Yep.
All of a sudden, everything is so trendy, so beautiful, and the cost to complete some of this stuff isn't that much higher. And it's like the coast is changing again
100%.
in a very good way.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed this change comes through. Like the state government's supporting it, but the local councils will have to be on board. And because I've seen it in Sydney and Melbourne, every low density residential block's a duplex block in Sydney now. If that happens up here and then the granny flat thing comes into it, it's just they have to do it because people want to be here.
That's it.
And some of them, I'm like, man, I could see myself fully cruising in that. Like that, they're beautiful. Hey.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, some of them are really nice.
Really nice, low maintenance. Like we don't really live the way that we used to live. In saying that, we want some land.
Yeah, we do.
We want a hobby farm. We want a hobby farm. Hobby farm.
Have you got enough room for that out at inland? Like, I don't want to drop the suburb name in case it ends up being your own home, but
No, we don't. It's like in town. Okay. So we did rooming accommodation over that, so it's in town.
That was good. We picked that up for like
177.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID? Or during that time?
In the midst. Yeah.
And another little reno. And that one's doing really good.
I love that place as well. Like I was out at the homestead literally a couple of weeks ago, caravanning and just having a vibe.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do you think's next? Like once you knock over Alex, or are you just very the same as I am, like one thing at a time and then reassess when you complete? Or is there something in the pipeline down the line?
It's always something in the pipeline with Joel. I say he's like the starter and I'm the finisher.
They're dropping letters into
I'm like, I just need to plant the seeds of what I want so he can go and do it, and then he'll make it happen. I'll finish it. Because you're on to the next thing.
Yeah, definitely. I guess for us personally, there's two things that are on the cards, and one is building that house on that front lot at Alex. That's going to end up being our home. So getting the designs finalised. It's like, I think when we're designing, a rooming house or an investment, it's quite, cool. This is what's going to get a good return. Cool. Yep. Happy with that. Let's go. Awesome. When it's your own home, there's that emotion. It's
100%.
And it's like, what if we change this? And so just going back and forth at the moment.
It take years to get that right. In the way
You're the nightmare client when it comes to design changes. I've been thinking.
Which makes you great at helping other people.
Exactly.
It's like, man, I don't want to think about all these things, but I cannot help it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that for us. And then the hobby farm, we really want to get that. And I was actually just having a chat to our planner yesterday. I'm like, what zoning do you need to be in for a wedding venue?
It's so funny you say that because literally about a month ago, I just, I go down the rabbit hole all the time as well. And poor Pam, my planner, I'm just looking out that way as well because I'm like, nothing. I've just been around Oz and I'm like, I want Southern Highlands, New South Wales or South Australia vibe, but it's like there's just too much heat up here, and so as soon as you put animals on it, it just turns to rubbish. But over the hill where the rainfall's left, you can get that Southern Australian farmland. And so we had something a little off on 40 hectares that was on the river that was zoned for that, but then when she went through, it's we'd only put 8 dwellings on it and I wanted 12 just to make it work. And then I'm like, what business am I in? I'm in the business of having an incredible lifestyle. I don't want to be in the business of wedding venues at this stage of my life while I'm doing this stuff and I've got young kids, but I'm like, I can't help myself because it's exciting and you can do it.
And it's about creating. Hey,
it's just creating something from nothing. It's beautiful. Is there anything else you wanted to leave people with? Because I'm buzzing and vibing and I know other people will be as well.
Yeah, for sure. How can people find us?
Well, if people are interested, we do a lot on Facebook. Joel's always on site doing lives. You saw, I think that's how you said you found us, YouTube shorts.
YouTube short.
And the real raw stuff. Yeah.
So that would be Echo Property Group.
Yeah, on
And
Facebook.
you guys have got an Instagram page as well.
Yeah,
People can follow you on.
Yeah, exactly. Same handle. Yeah,
Okay.
it's Echo Property Group.
Awesome, guys. And then there's good old Google that people can just, if they want to like talk about boarding houses or duplexes or subdivisions, whether they've got one or they want to do one, just reach straight out through there as well.
Yeah, touch base and have a chat.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad I found you guys. Like, it's just really exciting. Obviously, very different strategies that I have personally, and I love that. Like, I'll probably end up becoming one of your clients at some point. Wait for the GFC to roll through though and get one of the 1,000 holiday homes on the coast that's saying for a duplex, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah.
But I'm excited and grateful, and thanks so much for your time.
Yeah,
Thanks so
mate.
much for
Appreciate
having
it.
us.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
No probs. If you're thinking about buying an investment property in the next 3 to 6 months, then the team and I at Pumped on Property would love to offer you a one-on-one strategy session. To book the session, all you have to do is go to www.pumpedonproperty.com and click that free strategy session button. Now, in the session, we'll talk about exactly where you are right now, where you'd like to be longer term, and educate you deeply on the Australian property market. You can then take that information and go and absolutely smash it on your own, or potentially become one of the small number of clients that we work with each month. Either way, we look forward to continuing to help you build your property portfolio with confidence on your journey to financial freedom.